Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Feeling Seen, the podcast that talks about the movies and the characters that make us feel seen. And my co-host today is someone, you could say everything and you still would not be able to have said enough about this actor, this voice actor, this live action actor, this comedy star of our time. I had to write a list of the credits this time instead of going off the dome because there's so many I could have chosen from. You might not recognize his voice, but you've heard his voice because he's done such varied and vast work in movies like Moana or I, Robot or Rogue One or within the greater Star Wars universe, Zootopia, Big Hero 6, Frozen. You might have seen him in television shows like, hey guys, you ever heard of Firefly, Suburgatory, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Santa Clarita Diet, movies including Trumbo, knocked up in one of my favorite roles he's done, the best horror comedy of all time, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, Serenity, the continuation off of Firefly, and now he has the 4th season of Resident Alien coming at you. Alan Tudyk, what else do the people need to know about you before we get started?
My God, that's it.
That's it.
That's it. You can just choose like 2 of those lists. You don't even have to know all of those. Just 2.
Does your schedule seem like it would be as busy as the list of credits would convey? Like, are you somebody who has breaks, or are you like pretty constantly on a new project?
I have been working solidly for a while. Yeah. There's times that are more busy than others. There was a time when I remember being so busy that but still very. It was a long time ago when I was doing 310 to Yuma, and I had just finished Death at a Funeral, the English one, and I came back to the States and did 310 to Yuma, which was a lot of fun because I'd never done a Western before. But there was a break in the schedule where I flew to New York to start rehearsals for a play. There was a Prelude to a Kiss that was being done for the first time since the original production at Roundabout Theater. And we rehearsed for a week, and then we took a week off from rehearsal so I could go back to New Mexico to finish shooting 310 to Yuma. And I was doing the ADR for Death at a Funeral. And I was like, I don't know anybody else. And I was auditioning, trying to get the next job because my manager was always pushing me to get more work. And I was like, I don't know anybody else who's doing all of this. Like, can you lay off of me for a while?
Right. Yeah. You're like, stop pushing. Yeah. I'm falling. I don't need to be pushed.
Yes, exactly. That would have been nice to have said. I don't think I articulated it that well, but I was feeling it, that I was just like, my God, my brain's in so many different places. I'd rather not think about the next thing. Let me do the thing I'm doing. But it's neat. I've right now, I think after doing season 4 of Resident Alien, I've been working, but mainly doing some voiceover work and press stuff for Andor and for Resident Alien, and that's about it. And that's pretty chill. I've been happy. There's been like three voiceover projects that are ongoing, and ADR for Resident Alien. And then, that's it. Just some press.
I'm glad to hear that something involving the Star Wars universe can feel chill to a person involved in it. That's nice.
Right. Well, I have a pretty chill. Yeah. I wonder how Diego Luna's feeling, or Tony Gilroy. Their schedules are nuts.
Well, before we get into the movie conversation, bringing up just now, like Andor, you as the voice of the terrifying and charming robot K2SO, and you've done a lot of voice work. You've done another one of my favorite robots. I'm a big robot cinema enthusiast.
Oh, really?
The voice of Sunny. Oh yeah, I have a whole independent podcast dedicated to robot cinema called The Botcast.
Oh, well, hello.
Where I just talk about this with a friend of mine who wrote about like transgender metaphor in robot cinema as her like thesis project for graduation in college. So we're big fans out here of the genre.
How great.
And I only bring that up to say people playing robots and people playing robots playing people, like having to do the performance of human through guise of robot, that is my favorite category of performance. And I feel like that is very much what is happening also for you in Resident Alien.
Right.
This disruption is infuriating and very disrespectful. How am I supposed to sleep or bury the dead guy in my freezer with all these people out here?
All right, let's pick up the pace. We gotta get this stuff out of here before the snow hits.
This body needs 10 hours of sleep to function, and your domesticated wolf woke it up before even 6 hours.
Well, it must suck to get so much sleep and still look like shit.
Sorry, Dr. V. We moved our search to the shore. We strongly believe the body washed up on the beach.
How do you know that?
Because I can feel it in my balls.
Well, and I checked the currents. So the currents and the sheriff's balls.
Currents aren't always accurate, and you shouldn't trust your balls. They're nuts. I made a joke. I made a joke.
And so something that I was wondering in like the cross-pollination of robot performance and alien performance, I wondered what parts of humanness you bump up against the most or know that they cannot be a part of your performance in these facsimiles of human beings and these performances of something that makes humans feel comfortable enough to be around it that you would understand kind of interactions, even if you're a metal suit like K2SO.
Right.
What are things that you know that have to be sort of put on the shelf in a performance of this nature?
There was something that I tried to put on the shelf and I couldn't. You just can't do it. When I did Sunny, which is my first robot, I remember struggling with breath. I was like, well, he doesn't breathe. So breath is the most important thing in acting. I even had somebody tell me once, acting is breathing, and it really resonated with me. They were helping me quit smoking, and it was a good point. Point taken. Acting is breathing, man. You're choking yourself. So I think we just decided that the robots were constructed in a way that they exchange air to make themselves seem more real, to calm humans down, because you use it as a way of emoting. It's part of your, if you're saying too many things and you're running out of breath because you're not taking time to breathe, or it's part of the rhythm of living and emoting and existing in the world. So, and raising your voice, you need to take in more breath and all that. I think we were discussing in that movie, I did not murder him. I did not murder, that he's louder and louder.
I did not murder him.
But emotions don't seem like a very useful simulation for a robot.
I did not murder him.
What the hell, I don't want my toaster or my vacuum cleaner appearing emotional.
I did not murder him!
That was something that has always been. I struggled with it in iRobot, and then just kind of every other robot I've done, I'm like, well, they breathe. There's no way around it. Let's just go with it.
That is, as a fun fact, my wife is Swedish, and there is like a sort of colloquial way to like express agreement among Swedish people is a sharp inhale of air to just like.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, that means like, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Well, that actually, that ties in perfectly to how I want to connect to the movie, because I think that is an element of physicality in performance that, like, when you're disembodied from the meat figure, like you would be in a live action role, like the voice is all you have. So the voice has to be almost, it feels like a stage actor size in some ways to get across everything that you would lack, like to being able to corporeally express. And then what we have in the character, in the movie that you've chosen with young Frankenstein, is one of the all-time great examples of comedy on film, and Mel Brooks comedy, which is broad and physical and caricature based. And it's one of the things that I feel like it's kind of a bit of a rare or vanishing art form. And it's something that you are really well trained in. So tell me about your initial connection as a fan to Young Frankenstein.
It was all of that. I think I fell in love with the comedy of the cartoons that I watched growing up, which were all of those old Warner Brothers cartoons, the Bugs Bunny and the Daffy Duck, but the older ones, which were, as far as I can tell, a lot of it was based off of vaudeville and definitely early Hollywood film and film, because the Warner Brothers, they would use all the Hollywood stars from the Warner Brothers lineup when they were in the studio. studio system, where they were like, these are the Warner Brothers stars. So you'd see all of these, they'd have the Lon Chaney character who would always come in and play the scientist, or whoever would be creepy that they had. And then, Humphrey Bogart was in there, and Lauren Bacall was in there. And I didn't know who they all were. I just could see they were drawn differently. But just the broad comedy, the 1, 2, 3 punch of the comedy. And when I saw Young Frankenstein, and that's where Mel Brooks comes from, early television, the show of shows. And it had that 1, 2, 3 punch, that old school way of telling a joke, and the size. And that's where Gene Wilder, for me, I connected with. I think he had red hair, which I had redder hair when I was younger. It's gotten changed as I've gotten older, but it was a struggle. When I was young, I resented my hair, my coloring, because, I don't think if I was boys who have red hair, I think it's a little harder in the States. Well, we're sensitive. I mean, we're legitimately sensitive. So when you're a young boy, you don't want to be sensitive. You want to be tough. And I was in danger of the sun and going swimming without a t-shirt on. These were real dangers in my life. So I think I identified with him that way because he was cool to me. But he also has this, Gene Wilder has that, the voice, it resonates at a certain level where it's almost hysterical when he's calm. So his hysteria is just a step away.
Would you mind telling me whose brain I did put in?
And you won't be angry?
I will not be angry.
Abby someone.
Abby someone. Abby who?
Abby Normal.
Abby Normal.
I'm almost sure that was the name.
Are you saying that I put an abnormal brain into a 7.5-foot long, 54-inch wide gorilla?
That's how the entire psychedelic boat scene functions in Willy Wonka. Is that even at the beginning, before he's screaming at the end, no one knows which way we're going, just scream. Before he's even doing that, you're like, what is this guy doing? And he's just that tiny, delicate voice. Is it raining? And you're like, oh my God. The amount that he the way he expands in that scene is so incredible. But even when he's so contracted, it's no less terrifying or destabilizing. Yeah.
He's incredible. He's incredible that way. No, don't stop. There's something behind. It's got power even when it's quiet. There's a little, it's like a knife cutting through water. It's just, so I really liked that. The sedative, there's a whole sedative run when the monster first becomes animated and they realize he's alive and that it worked, where he comes down and says, it's such a great sketch. It's like, it is a sketch. All right, I'm going to let you go. Is the sedative ready? And they go, yes. He lets the monster go. Igor lights a match out of nowhere for no reason.
Yeah.
Never smokes anywhere else in the cigarette, just in the movie, but he lights his cigarette. And the monster freaks out, grabs him by the throat, Dr. Frankenstein by the throat.
What's the matter? Quick, give him the... Quick, give him the...
What? Give him the what? 3 syllables. First syllable sounds like...
Head! Sounds like head! Bed! Said! Second syllable, little word, this, that, the.
Said, dirty word! He said a dirty word!
Sounds like, to give!
Give! Give him a give!
Oh, Tim!
on the nosy. Sedative?
They give him the shot and he lays him down. Sedative? That is, it's so perfect.
It's so perfect. The way that only he can.
Yes. And he can say things that aren't punchlines that become really funny. Like right there, right after that, where he's like, Igor, come here. Could you come here for a moment, please? He's like, yes, sit down. And he sits on the floor. Oh, no, up here. It's maybe kind of humorous or kind of, but when he does it, it's just, it's so good. So it blew my mind. It blew my mind. And it became my favorite movie immediately. And I watched it again and again to where I can recite it now as an adult still.
Were you a Mel Brooks fan up to that point? Were you already watching his movies? Was this a way in for you?
No, I had actually, the first one I saw was even more perfect for my age because I was like 11 or 12. I saw History of the World Part 1.
Okay.
Which starts with the dawn of man. And it's Orson Welles doing a voiceover saying the dawn of man. We creep out of the ooze and became something. And they show these cavemen in silhouette. But I was so young, I didn't even understand what was happening. They're like, and they finally come from a crouched position to a standing position to show man is now Homo erectus.
Yeah.
And then they all just start jerking off. I didn't know what they were doing. I just thought it was funny. It's like they're dancing or something. Like I was too young to even get the masturbation joke. But that movie was, and it's really, it's inappropriate. Like a lot of Mel Brooks where you're like, not all of these jokes work anymore. But Madeline Kahn, it had all the greats,
My dad, the first movie I remember him being so excited to show me was Blazing Saddles.
Oh, wow.
My dad, I think, wanted me to be old enough to start cluing in to certain levels that maybe I would have missed it too young. Because that's great if you're 9. Like sitting around the campfire farting. Like there's something for a very young, but then when you're in your teenage years, there's something, but me and him are watching this laughing so hard, and me watching it now as a grown up. There's so much there that he was clocking into as the adult in the room that I absolutely was missing. And on the topic of Mel Brooks, something that's actually been making me think a lot lately, as we were approaching this conversation, is the Naked Gun re-up trailer that came out recently. And how I've noticed a very excited reaction, and it feels like I'm a big horror fan, and it's a genre that loves remix. It's a fandom that the more you can make something feel like it came out in 1988, the more of a hero you are. And throwback and homage is kind of constant. Remix is expected. And it feels like comedy is something where watching old comedies feels so much more like a moment in time than it feels like almost any other genre, because the mores and expectations and norms around what is funny, what is a joke, we're not going to make Bringing Up Baby again. That kind of quippy Katharine Hepburn comedy isn't probably going to come back in vogue. And thinking of Mel Brooks and Young Frankenstein, that too was such the moment in time of when he was at his absolute zenith, and this was the comedy of the moment. And you being so good in broad and physical comedy in that way, I wanted to know, do you feel like you are of a piece with comedy as it exists now, or do you feel like you're sort of pushing your own lane in comedy that feels more connected to your influences than perhaps the current tastes of what SNL and TikTok figures are dictating in terms of what is comic right now?
I think
you're timeless, Alan. I'm saying you're timeless.
Thank you so much. That's a really cool question. I believe I'm not of the time. I feel like when I think of what the edge is right now, and I could even be off on this, is I think you should leave.
Oh, right. Yeah. Tim Robinson is in the movie Friendship. Like, Friendship got greenlit for a reason because like Tim Robinson's whole deal.
Yes. So I get it. I get it. And there's some of them I think are really funny. Like one of the funniest ones, and I think that people really responded to, I think it was season 2 of that show. I do watch it. I don't know that I've seen it all. Is where he puts on all the makeup to go undercover, and then he's in the mall, and he says, I put on too much.
Go take that guy's tray over there. Carmine, can you hear me? Carmine.
There's too much fucking shit on me.
What?
There's too much fucking shit on me. I can't breathe.
You're fine. I can hear you breathing.
I'm so hot.
Carmine, relax. Take a deep breath.
I can't.
Buddy.
I can't do this. We did way too much.
You can do this.
I'm telling you I can't. I'm so hot.
And that is, I feel like that joke is hysterical to me. It reminds me of Young Frankenstein. The joke of when he's going into the room with the monster, he's decided he's going to help him. And he says, whatever you do, no matter what you hear in this room, do not open this door. You will undo everything I have worked my entire life for. Do not open this door. If you have any shred of humanity, you will not.
No matter what you hear in there, no matter how cruelly I beg you, no matter how terribly I may scream, do not open this door or you will undo everything I've worked for. Do you understand? Do not open this door.
Yes, Doctor.
And then he walks in. The monster hears him, breaks his chains, and he goes, open the door.
Yeah, and it's not a yell. Open the door.
Open the door. Open the door. Open the door. I was joking. Ha ha.
Let me out. Let me out of here. Get me the hell out of here. What's the matter with you people? I was joking. Don't you know a joke when you hear one?
Oh my God. It's the same joke. It's him going, moron. No, I want moron. I want moron. He gets out there. I put on too much. It's kind of the same joke, but like I wouldn't go as far as he went, although I did end up laughing when he said, maybe I shouldn't be here at all. It is so ridiculous. It's like he went past, for me, it was like funny, and then it wasn't funny, and then he stuck with it long enough to where it was funny again.
It feels like pushing through in comedy over years is really hard because you can't like you need to be of the time, but you can't be chasing the time. You can't be chasing the trend because then it's inauthentic and it's cloying. Like, is it I just stay the course? Like, how does one move through the eras of comedy as like the icebreaker, just like pressing forward?
I think you just sadly have to hope that your sense of humor has some relevance because you can only do what you think is funny.
Right. Yeah.
There's some stuff this season in Resident Alien. Here's a good example where I kept pushing it. I just kept pushing the joke. And Chris Sheridan he wrote on who's the showrunner. He wrote on Family Guy for a long time, and he has an aversion to a hat on a hat. For some reason, I just know that through the editing process of the since I directed this season.
Congratulations! That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. The first 2 episodes, and he will cut things. I'm like, no, but that's good. He's like, there's a hat on a hat. I'm like, I think it is.
What if it's a good hat?
That's a feather in a hat, but it is not a whole entire new hat. That's just a new band on the same hat. But I would lose those because it's not my show. But
For sure.
There's I have a. With the bird, played by Edie Patterson. She's my girlfriend. She comes back this season in episode 4, and we're having to break up. And it's really beautiful and sad. And I think that's maybe why it gets earned. But my hope is that if there's truth, if you can find the truth in a thing, then I hope it will work as comedy. And the truth of this scene that I'm speaking of, I'm saying, look, I'm a human now. and you're too amazing to be with me
Yeah.
because I can't appreciate everything that you are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not enough for you.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no, I'll change for you. It's like, that's not good enough. You're too great. And then she says, and it's so touching. And she says, well, could you tell me a poem? There's this whole thing. I was like, please let me do this. And Chris was very kind. He was like, yeah, do a poem. So I think I wrote 3 different poems. And she's like, do a poem and tell me another poem. Could you do it in your language?
Oh.
I've always found it so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And so the poem is a beautiful poem, but in his language, it's like it is not at all delicate and beautiful or romantic. And she's just hearing it, and you're getting the transcription down below. And because it was all transcription, I got to keep rewriting the poem, and I kept making it longer. And I'm like, please let me. I wanted to say, alas, alas, alas at the end. He's like, it won't work. I'm like, but what if you edit it like this? So we use this, and like he full on let me do it. So I kept pushing it to make it even more insane that it would end with this alas, 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 which is even dumber. But it comes off of such a beautiful thing. It's a sad, funny thing, and those are my favorite things. And it works. I don't know. I hope that will always work. That type of thing will always work.
No, what I was wanting to like follow on that with, like, just as you said that, was I feel like something that is so distinct to what you do is with how silly you are capable of being, and the silliness you're capable of imbuing into something. You're so good at a melancholy sort of behind a comedy, and even not even necessarily comedy, but like I think that's why like the character, your voice work as Sonny in iRobot, like
right.
Why that like movie, for all of its popcorn spectacle, like the soul of it is Sonny and how you communicate through him. And that's part of what makes K2SO so funny to me, is that he's absolutely devoid of any of that, where I hear your voice and I feel like I can hear that, like, that melancholy, it's just like pure cold kind of like assassin. But like watching Resident Alien, and like from like I was like reviewing some of the like episode 3 stuff, and then I even went back to the pilot and watched it before this conversation. And that way, like, that your shoulders kind of hang and your eyes kind of rest. Like, there is a lot weighing upon a man carrying the silliness that you imbue into so many things.
It's lucky to get to do that, to be the carrier of the silliness. To get to, I don't even, to even do this, like, I don't think that Chris, when he set out making Resident Alien, that he thought, I'm going to make a show that we're going to be able to do physical comedy in, that we're going to be able to go these insane distances. But in the first, I think it's the first episode, maybe even, where they do a flash of me trying to learn to move. And I can't, I'm trying to eat, I'm eating a chicken, and that's all they gave. We didn't have any time. We were out of time. They're like, go. We have maybe 3 takes you can do. And they didn't even have another costume for me. So I just took off my pants. Like, all right, this is earlier, so I don't have my pants on. I'm wearing underwear. And I just fumbled around and did physical stuff for a while. And they're like, yeah, we're going to use all that. But there's a thing where Nathan Fillion does the voice of 42, the octopus that I save from the tank at the sushi restaurant, and a dog gets a hold of him and chew toys him and just ragdolls him, and we have this. I love it. I'm so sad, and he's having his last moments and his last breath, and we didn't have money for VFX, so they puppeted the little tentacle, and it's so good because it looks cheesy, and for some reason it makes it better. His little tentacle, you can tell there's something tied onto the end of it as it comes up and touches my cheek. No, my friend, he's telling me, go, and I tried to give him chest compressions, but he's an octopus, so it's just like killing him, destroying.
I will never forget you.
It was an honorable death. Honor my life by eating my dead body. and a butter sauce with a nice, like a really nice Chardonnay. 42.
No! No, 42! No! You can't go! Stay with me! Stay with me!
Oh, it's one of the funniest, one of the most funny things that we got to do on that. But that is so broad and so insane. I definitely don't think that Chris was like, yeah, that's the show's going to have that stuff in it. But it just
that was like, yeah, it was in his season 2 Bible. Was that for sure?
And yeah, he let me do that, and then flipping it over and trying to blow in basically his butt. mouth to butt resuscitation, which is the same. The mouth and the butt. I think it's all one hole there.
They only have so many options.
Yeah, there's,
We're going to throw it a break, but I will be right back with more of me and Alan Tudyk exchanging favorite lines from Young Frankenstein when we return. Then at the end, I will have one quick thing before I go about heads of state. So stick around for that.
Do you want to travel this summer but don't have the time?
Want to learn all about state mottos and history without summer school?
Or maybe you just love urban legends and Latin?
Well, my friends, there's one podcast that ties it all together and celebrates the American states many call home, E Pluribus Motto.
Every episode, we showcase a different state or commonwealth or district or territory and celebrate its official motto and the absurdity of all its local life.
We'll go across the country with stops at Oregon, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and so many more. Join us, won't you, to take in the sights and sounds.
New episodes of E Pluribus Motto every other week on Maximum Fun.
What's more action-packed than prestige television?
With more continuity than comic books?
And more reality than reality television?
It's professional wrestling! And to better understand wrestling is the ultimate form of entertainment. You need the Tights and Fights podcast.
This is the perfect wrestling show with a lot of love, a lack of toxic masculinity,
and just the right amount of butts, cats, and spandex.
Listen to Tights and Fights every Saturday on Maximum Fun.
Reading the New York Times original review for Young Frankenstein.
Oh, wow.
And like seeing sort of what because like obviously I know it's like praised and everything, but the New York Times called it like the funniest, most adhesive comedy of Mel Brooks to date. And they said, quote, because it is more disciplined, the anarchy is controlled. And I wanted to hear from you about like from initial like early watches of this movie to perhaps watching it throughout your life and becoming a professional and a veteran professional over that time. What are ways that you find yourself notice over the years, ways you've noticed finding things or appreciating things from like a craft or precision level that maybe you hadn't when you first watched it, but now you're like, damn, now that I make stuff, like this is even crazier or more impressive than I thought it was.
Yeah. Well, it is. It's Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder is a lot more disciplined than I think I do. God bless him. He's just so he can nail something to the ground. I'm thinking of that stupid, when Igor there at dinner. This reminds me.
I'll never forget my old dad. When these things would happen to him, the things he'd say to me.
What did he say?
What the hell are you doing in the bathroom day and night? Why don't you get out of there? Give someone else a chance.
And he just keeps eating. I see. I don't know. He doesn't give much of a, it's just him. He's just him processing. That when he stabs himself in the leg with the scalpel, and that quick look at it, there's no he doesn't go for it. He just enjoys that. Also, he pushed for the dance. The
putting on the Ritz?
That was Mel Brooks said, no, you can't do it. That's too much. he and Gene Wilder said, "You have to do it. We have to do it." And they did it, and he said it was so funny he had to keep it in.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Different types who wear a day coat, pants with stripes, or cutaway coat, perfect fits.
But that is, oh my God, there's so much class in that.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
is so very, very, very funny. I just rewatched that the other day. And if you listen to the soundtrack of Young Frankenstein, the musical, you can see where they indulged more and it didn't work, where it went too far. Yeah, I don't know. But I feel like it's in me. It's instructional in me that it lives sort of just behind the scenes in my brain. That if there's ever a moment in a script that there's a like juxtaposition of wants from a character and stakes, that it'll start to push through and it'll start to, I'll start to borrow from it. I just know it. Like all of that stuff. I like Warner Brothers. I used to go watch the Show of Shows when I was at school in New York before YouTube existed, just because I wanted to see the way they made comedy. I thought it was, I had a whole belief that it could. I mean, I really did at one time believe we should do team comedy. I want to do team comedy with a guy back in Dallas where I'd come from. So I was ringing the bell of, we've got to go back. We've got to go backwards. It's got to be Jerry Lewis and Martin. It's got to be that. I wanted to do stand-up, but not, I had done stand-up, but I decided I didn't like it because it was dangerous. People, if I upset people, they would beat me.
Right.
I'd been threatened at one point and I didn't like it.
Okay.
But I could do team comedy, like do scenes. And I did one night at like a Chuckle House one time with this guy, Alan and Alan, we called ourselves. And I have a video of it. It's terrible. It's so bad. It's so bad. But who knows where it would have gone, what it would have evolved into. But I definitely did believe in the old way of things, the 1, 2, 3, and clean comedy. That's something else that I believed in at one time.
Well, that what you say, like kind of like the old way, the old recipe, the recipes, as they say, we're losing the recipes. And with the new Naked Gun trailer, I watched it and I was just having like the joke about, I don't know if you've watched it yet, but there's a joke about the word manslaughter and man's laughter.
Yeah,
that I have been laughing about for a solid week at this point. And Akiva Schaffer wrote it, and I looked up, he's 47 years old, and I was like, I don't think you could have anybody younger writing this movie because we don't do spoof anymore. Like we don't do the kind of last time we really did that was like the Scary Movie franchise, and even that sort of like overstayed its welcome a bit by the end. But like you kind of it's not like there's a sort of younger generation to bring back that thing that happened. It feels, unless they're like really going back and like finding the Mel Brooks and everything to grow up steeped in it. I feel like the way the last time would have been Gen X that really did when we had things like the Naked Gun franchise that felt very of a piece with sort of the comedy landscape. It feels like we're not quite like to that like PG-13 level anymore.
Right. But, I think that some people that like were born this year are going to be going, I don't know what it is. I just like doing swing dance. And I like the clothes they wore, and I like the style, and or rockabillys or whatever. That there's going to be people who have to be that old airplane humor. My God. I saw Airplane in the theater. I still can remember going outside after it on a hot day in Texas and just, I'm sure I'm romanticizing, but I was like blinking like the world has changed. Things are different now.
It is. I stand by it as still the greatest comedy ever made. It's the funniest movie ever made. Airplane and Airplane 2.
Yeah, Airplane 2 was good.
Yeah, the drinking problem still makes me laugh, even if I just thinking about it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
My last, I could just do this forever, so I will, because you are a student of the era, and I want to talk to somebody who really appreciates this time, I would just love to hear you remark upon Terry Garr as a concluding thought for this conversation, because Terry Garr is goddamn one of the best to ever do it. She was hilarious. She was
Yeah.
an incredible comedy actor.
Yeah.
And I mourn for the fact that as TV became ascendant, that there was not like a Ryan Murphy who was able to come in and be like, ma'am, you were not given your flowers, and I am now going to feature you in new television the way that you should have been featured before. Please talk about Terry Garr in Young Frankenstein.
She's fantastic in Young Frankenstein, but she wasn't fantastic in I almost like her better in other things too. I mean, she was very good.
Mr. Mom is one of my great joys growing up.
Yep, that one. Tootsie.
Tootsie,
Remember
yeah.
Tootsie? There was a scene, and it was because of her. She fought for it. There's a scene where she's basically arguing for her own orgasm or something.
Yes.
And around the table, and it wasn't in the script. Her character was only two-dimensional, and she had to fight for that that extra dimension within her character. And it's such a great scene, and they didn't even shoot it well. Like if you watch it, it's just the cameras on one side, and they kind of lose them at one point. But it's so great. But yeah, she was in Young Frankenstein. She was fantastic. Especially, she was more with Mel Brooks. He is of that time. He's in his 90s now.
Yeah.
He could just be like, women are a TNA punchline.
Sure, yeah.
And not Madeline Kahn. He always gave her. She was just too much. She was so great. She couldn't be contained. But also, Terry Garr did more with that role, which was basically that was the role.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the lab assistant you want to sleep with.
Yeah.
The roll in the hay. But she was great.
Would you like to have a roll in the hay? It's fun. Roll, roll, roll in the hay.
Roland Zahay after Madeline Kahn's Teutonic Titwillow of Blazing Saddles.
Which, that's her one that I also didn't get when I first saw it. I'm tired. Tired of being admired.
I've been with thousands of men again and again. They promise the moon. They're always coming and going and going and coming. And always too soon. White girls, I'm tired.
Let's face it, everything below the waist is kaput. What?
What? But yeah, I could just keep doing the remember whens with you over and over again, and so I have to just exercise my own
Do you like the
restraint.
movie? Just can I ask you this?
Please,
Because this is one of my favorite movies. What's Up, Doc?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Madeline Kahn's first movie. And I mean that movie. Oh my God! And if you like character actors, like all the great character actors are in it, or many of them are. And Barbra Streisand is the lead, and Ryan O'Neal is the leading man. But anyway, yeah, I can do this all day because I love all those old. There's just so.
This makes Madeline
really
Kahn a link to two of my favorite conversations I've had on the show, which is you and Adam Goldman talking about Clue. So
yeah. She has a thing, and I used to do this in films, and I don't do it now. I don't plan to do it, but I still do it. Gene Wilder did it in. A good example is in that scene we were talking about before where he says, open the door, open the door, open the door. And then he realizes they're not going to open the door. And he turns around and he says something along the lines of, and then he says, hello, handsome. But he has this weird verbalization of not words. Madeline Kahn does it in What's Up, Doc, when she's reading a book called like The Feminine Rage or something like that. And she's been kicked out and she's like, anyway, I would do that when I did 28 Days, this movie. I was this German character and I was in therapy and she says, what do you want to say? Can you be more articulate? So you feel, we'll come back to you. And then I did it in A Knight's Tale. I mean, I was like, I would look for
I
places to
remember
put
that
it
in A Knight's Tale.
I'll pine, I'll rip you, I'll do this, and there's in this season of Resident Alien, bringing it back.
I was going to say, I feel like this is in the DNA of Resident Alien as well.
Yeah, he makes a lot of noise, but it's the one with Edie Patterson. She's back, and we're doing this weird pelvic thrusting thing. We're thrusting our pelvises at each other, and we're one-upping it. It's like, I'll give you a gift. I'll give you a gift. What gift is it? It's the one I gave you before. I'm just going to give it to you again. Yeah? Well, you're going to re-gift it? Well, I got a gift receipt. And it's this stupid run of things. But at one point, I run out of things to say, and I just go, where Chris called me, he's like, what is that you're saying? I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it is a verbalized, like a rim shot. It's like, but I go, anyway, that's enough of that. I love it all. All those comedy. I do love comedy so much. Thank you so much for this.
No, thank you.
It's rare to get to talk to somebody who wants to talk about this because I love it.
It's such the joy of getting to do the show is like people get to talk about the thing that they're making now, which is like the job that they have to do, but like hopefully through the lens of a thing that they have loved for a really long time. So the conversation can be informed just a little bit differently and based around something that you're just passionate about. Yeah. And I just like, we told you before we got on, we are such fans of you here at the show, and we're just so grateful for you taking the time to join us today. And thank you so much for coming and for bringing this movie that we should always be talking about more in our lives than Young Frankenstein.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure. Cheers.
Thank you so much to Alan Tudyk for taking the time. What a gift to me that I got to have him in conversation. Resident Alien Season 4 is now airing on Sci-Fi and USA, and you can watch episodes on Peacock a few days after they air. And you can also get caught up on the show via Netflix if you have not yet commenced Resident Alien, which I suggest you do. And now that one quick thing before I go, the new Amazon Prime action movie, Heads of State, starring John Cena as the movie star turned United States president, who links up with the Prime Minister of the UK, played by Idris Elba. They have a lot of tension between them. They are meeting up for a joint press conference at the same time that a terrorist has gotten a hold of the most powerful secret surveillance technology in the entire world and is now using it for ill. Those heads of state end up in a perilous situation where they kind of have to go rogue. They're on the lam working their way across Europe to get to safety, and along the way they encounter all of these obstacles of people trying to stop them. It also co-stars Priyanka Chopra as an international law enforcement person of great skill and ability. I had so much fun with this movie, guys. Straight to streaming action movies, English language ones, gosh, they can fall so flat. Like the Gray Man. You guys, I don't like to cast aspersions. I was unreasonably bored during that movie. And it's like, how can so much charisma become a void of charisma? And how can action be so boring at the same time? And it feels like American straight-to-streaming action movies can just become so bloated and expensive, but really not put those resources on screen to make something interesting and fun and entertaining. It gets lost in the sauce. Heads of State is a great DTV, funny action comedy. It's not going to change the world, but Cena and Elba are a hoot. This movie is like a NATO evangelist piece. And honestly, I need that kind of like feel good, the world can come together again kind of messaging right now, even if it's in a goofy action movie. I need it in my blood and in my oxygen. It is sincerely, again, it's just such a good romp. The action is it really comes through. It is handled so well. Priyanka Chopra is a damn action star. We need to know that here in America. We need to put it in feature film format, come out of procedural cop television for us over here. Obviously a massive star in India. We need to make this her lane so that she can flourish in it here for audiences in the States. And there is a run that she has in particular, her and her stunt woman, over like 10 minutes near the end of this movie that is so electric. I had to rewind it and watch it again. Like it's just, she's got the juice. These three together have a great dynamic. The two guys in their own on-screen back and forth are a fun set of foils. If you want a good little diversion time on your televisions, it's on Prime. It is Heads of State. And we might all need a relief every now and again from the doom. So check it out. Check it out, check out, and check it out. And that is our show. You can keep up with us wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us, hit the follow button wherever you're listening to get every new episode in your feed as it drops. Follow us to find out more on Instagram at Feeling Seen Pod. We are also on Blue Sky. Just search Feeling Seen. You can find me there as well at Jor Crew, where I am also same name on Twitter. Our theme music is by Andrew Epen. This show was produced by Marissa Flaxbart. Our senior producers are Kevin Ferguson and Laura Swisher. And this is a production of Maximum Fun.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows,
supported directly
by you.